Best Picture podcast. I'm Giovanni Lago, and today I am joined by the writer, director, producer of Shelby Oaks, Chris Stuckmann. Chris, thank you so much for joining.
Thank you, Giovanni. I appreciate it.
I'm a little bit starstruck here in a way where I grew up watching your videos, and now I find myself on this side working as a critic. And now, as someone who has made a career of being a critic, now you're on the other side as a filmmaker, finally, with the debut. You've talked about a lot of how this has been a dream of yours for forever, and you've had a very successful YouTube career. You know, you could have kept going with it. I'm very curious in terms of your mindset. When did the paradigm shift of, I love what I'm doing, I've been wanting to make movies, but now is the time that I have to do this before it's too late? When did that just click for you?
Thank you, first off, for watching for all that time. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. I think, like you said, it's always been the goal. Filmmaking has always been the goal. It's how I started as a kid. It's how I first discovered my love of movies, was making them in my backyard with my friends. This camcorder behind me, we shot a lot of the Paranormal Paranoids episodes on, but it's the same kind of camcorder I had as a kid. I think that the idea to kind of go now came from a lot of complacency in my own life. When I turned 30, I felt very depressed that I wasn't on set making stuff, and I just really needed to be. And I kind of had this moment of realization where I realized nothing's going to fall into my lap. Nobody's just going to like knock on my door and say, hello, I have always wanted to make movies with you, and now is your chance. And so I just started writing, and I found myself becoming happier as I would write scripts and did the work. And I would ask for feedback from fellow writers and filmmakers that I had become close with, like Mike Flanagan. And they really helped guide me in the right direction, not just in my writing, but also in who to talk to in the industry, who not to talk to in the industry, who to avoid. And I think
Very underrated thing, by the way.
very,
Yeah.
yes. It's because there's a lot of vultures out there, and it's a dangerous place if you don't know your way around. And so I just was not feeling very happy in life, and decided, you know what, I need to do this thing that I've always wanted to do, and it's going to be hard, and there's going to be challenges, and it's going to be tough to find money, and that's why I started going to genre film festivals. Like Fantastic Fest, which is where I actually was able to pitch Shelby Oaks successfully, because I thought to myself, if I want to make genre films, I should go to where genre filmmakers are, and I can actually meet them face to face. And that was, I think, the piece of advice. That's the piece of advice I tell people most often, is to actually go to film festivals and talk with people and network in that way. Because I heard so many other filmmakers tell me, not me, but like on videos, I would hear them say, like, you have a camera in your pocket. Everybody has a camera in your pocket now. There's no excuse for you to not make movies. And it never helped me to hear that, because everybody does have a camera in their pocket. So everyone is trying to make a movie with their phone, and it feels it's even harder to stand out as a result. And I figured the best way that I could was to go to film festivals and meet people. And I think that's why, man. It's a long answer. I apologize, but
Oh, please, come on.
that's the thing, is I was just not happy, and I needed to be making stuff.
I talked to Jeff Nichols, and one thing he brought up is specificity is always like attuned to regionality. A lot of first-time filmmakers, they can make something and be like, oh, I got a lot of ideas in my head brewing. They want to do this and this and this, and it's going to be in this big locale. You are Ohio native. The film takes place in Ohio. I'm curious more so, was that when you were piecing together Shelby Oaks, was it from a place of, this is a location I know, there's a lot that I could bring to it through this specificity? Was it more so also, we don't have a lot of money, we got to work with what we have, it's the best of both worlds? I'm curious, from where did that come from?
Yeah, I mean, you're right. We shot it in Ohio, born and raised in Ohio. I'm talking to you from Ohio right now. I live in Akron. It's the Robert Rodriguez, Kevin Smith School of Filmmaking, where, you shoot in places about that you feel like you can get access to. And as soon as I came across the idea in my mind of having a ghost town be involved in the film, I realized Ohio has quite a bit of abandoned stuff. A lot of people pack up and leave this place. And so I basically spent probably a year off and on driving around Northeast Ohio looking for locations that could become a ghost town. I knew that if I could find all of the right places, I could make it all part of the same town. And, if you've seen the film, there's shots of an abandoned football stadium, completely real. There's, of course, the Shawshank Prison. There's an abandoned amusement park. There's a car graveyard. All of these places I found, minus the prison, of course, just driving around Ohio and trying to find places that we could shoot in that looked expensive. If you watch this movie and there's like 2 or 3 shots of this car graveyard in Shelby Oaks, and this is behind someone's auto repair shop who dumped 30 years worth of cars in the woods behind his shop. And I'm like, this is incredible.
Perfect. This is it.
Thank you for doing that. Can we please shoot here? And those types of things. And so it did become a necessity of like, the locations are here. Let's make the script work around them, which also was a risk because I'm writing this script and I don't have permission to shoot in these places yet.
Mm-hmm.
And if I don't have permission to shoot in them, once we get around to it, I don't know anywhere else to find a 7-story abandoned prison. And so but it worked out because all the places said yes, and it was great.
I'm also very curious with the introduction to film. I don't want to give anything away, but the way you use found footage and early 2000s YouTube and online culture to really not only, I think, get a lot of exposition out the way, but also in terms of getting the audiences used to it. And also, mentioning a world you're from, you're very familiar, obviously, with that culture and the response to how people organically talk online. Was that always something you envisioned how you would start it before transitioning to a more very traditional narrative feature and then also playing the mockumentary stuff in it?
Yes. And I think it's large in part, not just a budgetary thing of like, I was able to go to producers and say, hey, we can shoot a portion of this movie very efficiently. And that definitely made people lean in. But also, I haven't really yet seen a movie in the horror space explore the early aughts, mid aughts introduction of horror on the internet. Because when the internet began, it was like you would go on Yahoo. You would do a GeoCities website or something.
I'm on AOL Mail and all that stuff.
AOL Instant Messenger. Like, what are the movie times on moviephone.com? Things like that. But then all of a sudden, there was these videos of a relaxing car drive where you're watching a car go down the road, and then a terrible ghost man pops up at the end and jump scares you. And those types of things became introduced. Creepypastas became introduced, and suddenly there was this new subculture of horror on the internet, and we were getting horror stories from the internet now. It wasn't just about reading physical books or watching movies. And I haven't really seen a film in the horror space explore the mid to early aughts introduction of what it felt like to be on the YouTube space specifically in that time, where a lot of different creators were discovering their voices. The word monetization was not known. It wasn't thrown around. People were not making videos for money. They didn't care about any of that. They were just discovering their talents and putting themselves out there. And it was also a time that felt very innocent, and that you could stumble across a YouTube channel like the Paranormal Paranoids and be like, holy shit, is this real? Because AI and
just the natural skepticism of today that everything we apply to was just so ingrained.
Exactly. And most people back then who were making YouTube videos had no knowledge of visual effects. And so, if you saw something weird on YouTube or strange or creepy, there was a real sense of like, oh my God, are UFOs real? Are aliens real? Like, is this actually a thing?
They're coming tomorrow.
Yeah. And so I wanted to find a way to capture that period.
You mentioned Mike Flanagan earlier and your relationship and how he came aboard this project. I'm curious, when you have a name like that, and I think you've seen plenty of movies, like you look at the wall behind you, you've watched plenty of horror films and films in general. Mike Flanagan's a very hardworking guy who knows what he's talking about, especially in today's modern horror scene. I'm sure his presence had to bring some set of comfort, that you had a ingrained confidence, but also it's like shit, Mike Flanagan's here. I can't drop the ball. I don't want to disappoint. I'm sure that it must have been like a whirlwind of emotions as, for a first time debut.
It really, I mean, first off, I'll say, Mike is a genuinely great person. He is such a kind man and very talented, and you should meet your heroes when it comes to him. He does not disappoint in any way. We had already shot the movie when he officially came on board, and so while shooting the movie, I wasn't thinking like step up my game because Mike is here. He came on board after he saw a cut of the movie and was like, yes, I want to help. How can I help? I love this. And he saw the worst the movie will ever be. He saw the first 2.5 hour assembly cut of it without music, without sound effects, without visual effects.
Just raw video.
Yes. Yeah. Just camera audio. Okay. We haven't even synced the audio yet. Like he saw the version that made me want to throw up. Like, you know what I mean? Like Scorsese always says, what did he say? He said about when you see your first rough cut, if you don't vomit, there's something wrong with you. But Mike was like, no, Mike's an editor. Mike edits all his stuff. And he looked at that and he saw the value in it immediately. And I was very impressed by that and very heartwarmed by that. And having his presence there throughout post, not just as someone who could offer suggestions in the edit, but as someone who could kind of tell me who to avoid in the industry as well, because he's been around the block. This is, before Neon came involved, and we were thinking like, should we look for a distributor? And he would be like, don't go there, don't go there. Talk to them, they're great. That kind of thing. I could not have asked for a better partner. Just an incredible man.
And not only the big name, I love the actors you're able to gather for this, but like obviously when you bring in Keith David, who's just a staple of so many films like The Thing, and just a guy whose face, whenever he pops up on screen, you're like, oh, it's my guy. What was it like, especially the first feature, getting to direct an on-screen veteran actor of that caliber?
Oh, man. Listen, Giovanni, if there's one thing I don't have a lot of, it's confidence. I tend to have to go into situations and build that up over time. And so when Keith David walks in the room and his entire body fills the door frame, and he's got this amazing outfit on.
And the voice, voice, come on.
Yes. And he speaks to you, and you're like, that's Goliath from Gargoyles. Wow. Listen, I was very scared, because in my mind, I'm a YouTuber from Ohio who is making a movie, and what do I have to say to this man who's been directed by so many legends, Darren Aronofsky, John Carpenter? And what I learned about him is that he is just, not only is he a very kind and respectful person, but he is an artist who loves creating and who loves playing and who loves thinking about the scene. We only had a day with him, and he came in, he wanted to rehearse, which is also rare, some of his caliber coming in for a day, wanting to rehearse. Between us, man, well, I guess, and all of your listeners and viewers, there are plenty of actors of his caliber who come into indie projects for a day who will request cue cards off screen. They don't know their lines. They've got cue cards off screen, and someone's helping them do it, and they do their thing and they go home. Keith had everything ready to go, memorized. He did all of his own inserts. Like he has close-ups with like a coffee cup and stuff. He could have requested a hand double. He did all of that himself. He was excited to be there. And I saw him this year at Comic-Con, and he walked up to me and he was like, Mr. Stuckmann, and he gave me a hug. And I was like, oh my God, he remembered me. He's a great guy. He's really a great guy. It was very intimidating, but awesome.
Well, I'm very excited that you were able to take this, essentially this baby of yours, from just this idea and turn your dream into a reality, and to work with someone like Keith David and Mike Flanagan. I know, but Neon backing it up, especially with how they've built up that company for the past years, and those people who would turn out to Shelby Oaks. I'm very excited to see it. I'm very proud of the work you've put in. It's very inspirational. Chris, this has been amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Giovanni. I appreciate it.